All right, so today we're going to jump into 4 technologies that could be disrupted by blockchain and Web 3.0. We'll dive into each one of them, give you some projects to look at, and also kind of an overview of how all of this could be shifting and, of course, driving the crypto markets. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back to TechPath. All right, let's jump into it today. If you're new to our show, one thing you're going to notice here is we do a ton of not only analysis within the tokens themselves, but we also drive into the projects that are starting to surface that could be, big game players. They could be disruptors. They could also be companies that start to set the tone. And what I mean by that, in the reference of when you look back at really how technology in Silicon Valley evolved, a lot of that was built on the backs of other companies that kind of started a particular project. Maybe they had a great idea. Maybe it was too early. But the idea is that many of these companies started to kind of leverage up and really build from there. And that's really what you have in terms of Silicon Valley today. In essence, all of the major tech stocks that you follow on the stock market, those were all born from ideas that came out of what we're going to be talking today in terms of areas to be watching for. Just to our slide here, we're going to look at AWS and storage in general, how that could be disrupted. We'll look at AI data mapping, what kind of projects are out there that are kind of moving in this direction. Mesh networks, we've talked a little bit about, and then also the entertainment sector. We'll get into these technologies really set to get disrupted. I want to go in and really kind of talk about one project that is, in my opinion, and this is one that we've had on our top 20 altcoins. It's one that we've tracked for quite some time. And it is one that continues to bring itself back around, and that is Arweave. So if you look at Arweave, just as a cloud storage platform, and let me kind of zoom in on that just for a little bit. For some of you that maybe you're new to our channel and you're like, hey, Paul, I don't know much about altcoins, or I don't know much about outside crypto beyond Bitcoin and Ethereum. Arweave essentially is a platform concept that is designed to replace the potential for centralized storage. And if you think about centralized storage, whether it's like a rack space, an AWS, which has kind of dominated the storage platforms over the past 2 decades and really kind of shifted how the internet runs. If you were to look at Amazon today and just pulled AWS outside of Amazon, that would be their biggest business unit. That gives you an idea of just how big this is. But what is Arweave? Arweave aims to create a system where users can pay once to share their data or store their data forever. To do this, it's created a single storage endowment to ensure permanent storage on the network. When a piece of data is written to the Arweave network, users pay an upfront and incur interest from the form of storage purchasing power. This would essentially completely disrupt how storage is done, because right now you're storing on, let's say you're on an AWS server and you've got, just like our own CPI, maybe you're storing big databases, harvested data, whatever it might be. You're paying that on a monthly recurring revenue feed. Where Arweave comes in is this decentralized storage mechanism that essentially is a one-time placement of storage. This is another aspect around data and privacy that could become a big factor in the future. And what I mean by data and privacy, meaning you owning your own data. Because right now, if you're a Facebook user, Facebook owns your data. If you're a Twitter user, Twitter uses and owns your data. And of course, they utilize that to leverage against you for advertising right here on YouTube, same kind of scenario. These are and could be some of the bigger categories that could see some pretty significant disruption. And when you look at how can this be used in real world environments, this is a good article right here. A blockchain based on Noah's Ark is being used to preserve a record of the Ukrainian conflict. This is back to Arweave. And what they're trying to do is essentially give a immutable position or place to store a lot of what's happening in the Ukraine right now from an aspect of just preservation of data, and also a lot of the aspects that may come out of this. Think about video clips, audio clips, photos, all those kind of things traditionally that we might do in cloud storage. This is where decentralized could become something very interesting, especially if a lot of this needs to be securely stored in a decentralized model. Imagine the hacks that could occur. I won't get into why that might occur, but let's say that you probably kind of figure this out. Let's say all of this kind of data gets stored somewhere and somebody doesn't like it being out there and they want to go after it. This is where a project like Arweave could really be a big benefit. Berlin-based technology startup Arweave attempting to turn the phrase "history is written by the victors" on its head. Obviously, this is talking about the Russian military continuing its assault on Ukraine and all of those artifacts that essentially are starting to flow out of that via social media primarily. Imagine if Twitter just decided, well, we're not going to show any of that for whatever reason a year from now, or maybe it's Facebook that says, we just don't want to promote that. All of that data is theirs essentially because you've posted it to their system. Unless you've got it stored on your phone or in your own storage device, your cloud system, then essentially it could be gone. So that's where a project like Arweave could really kind of start to flip the scenario. This is a tweet from them from the AR Drive. Today we're excited to announce the launch of the Arweave.io network, bringing decentralized and incentivized gateways to the Arweave teams. And this is kind of where I think it really starts to open up the opportunities because there's a lot here. If you look at open source protocol, incentivized data seeding, this is another factor I think that will be a deal in the future. Serving indexing and price discovery, this is another scenario that I think will continue to drive Arweave's interest in the commercial side of things, and then optimizing price and QoS choice, fee sponsorships, customizable fiat and crypto onboarding. Again, this is just something that builds decentralization of data. And I think when you look at where we will see data storage in the future, this is one of those projects that could really be a big factor. Let's go into another one because it's not the only one out there. Filecoin has been around for quite some time. Many of you probably will look at that and say, well, wait a minute, Paul, Filecoin is the OG in the room. And if you look at Filecoin, they definitely are. And one of the things that they definitely have done in terms of just understanding where data can be, it really is one of those projects. I think the one thing I would be concerned with Filecoin still, again, is scalability. But it is one of those projects that I think, one, has the potential to maybe shift up and also keep pace with where some of the new development is going. So I think that's a big thing that will be helpful. This article right here kind of jumps to it. It says, by using currently established stored memory, Filecoin avoids the need for additional infrastructure. Let me highlight that for you guys so you know where I'm coming from. It's also garnered $52 million in its pre-sale, $205 million in its first coin offering, respectively. And then it did get some pre-seed funding. And it's, like I said, it's been one of those, I think, that we'll continue to see more and more projects around what Filecoin and the Firepin token are going to be doing. So going to be interesting to see that one go and move. Another area I think is going to be the area around data and AI. Now let's talk about this for a second because many of you may not necessarily understand what data and AI have to do with the same thing. And I want to reference, this is one project, Synthesis One. Basically what they're doing is they're gamifying the collection of data to feed AI systems. Now, let me kind of explain this because this is being utilized in real world application right now with Tesla. Not Synthesis, but with Tesla. They're utilizing humans, people, to essentially basically index and tag all things that a car, a Tesla vehicle, sees, and in terms of full self-driving capabilities, the self-driving, whether you're using autopilot, all those different factors around Tesla usage, all of that's being fed into an AI or their Dojo computer, and it's all being labelers that are out there that are hired by Tesla independently, and they're basically tagging camera or visualization systems to feed this into AI. Imagine the amount of AI data tagging that is going to have to take place in all of the sectors. Let's just go with medical, retail, just bots themselves on customer service. Let's get into entertainment. You could get into all sorts of things around social media. And if you look at what Synthesis One is trying to do, what they've done is they're going after the idea of creating kind of a play-to-earn data yield farming format to enable people that eventually would be part of something like this to go out and do this data labeling for future AI systems, and then be able to take that AI, and now you're selling, or I wouldn't say selling, but you're transmitting basically centralized systems into an AI platform that now the AI can learn from. And this is going to be a big factor because without a learning mechanism for AI, just like machine learning, it's usually done on just traditional machine code. And that's why it's so clunky. It doesn't have the capability of learning from itself, where AI has the ability to eventually start to evolve. I know that we only have level 1 and 2 on AI availability, but as we start to see advancements in computing power and the capability of AI systems, and I think we're already starting to see this, especially when AI starts making decisions, instruction decisions on its own. I'm not talking about, level 5, but we're talking about kind of that era between now and probably the next 20 years. A lot of this is going to be driven around projects like this. So a lot happening in that area, and I think that's going to be one of the areas. IT, this is a data yield farming to power data sets for AI. This was just another topic. This was the topic around Synthesis 1 of what they're kind of going into. Let me just kind of, if you're unsure about what you saw, here's basically the download on it. Mine the AI and the AI reasoning engine require new ontologies to respond to customer service and chat conversations. Those are some of the features that you're going to see built into this. But I think where this really gets going is when big companies start to say, wait a minute, I have an AI engine here. Maybe I'm an American Express and I need, whether it's functionality on financial or I need functionality on customer service that is AI driven. Where am I going to get that data labeling capability? Now I'm looking for decentralized, somewhat rolled up data, because I don't want data that's specifically assigned by one particular area or another. I want something that's rolled up into kind of a flat line database that I can feed into my AI system and then utilize it. That is going to be another factor I think that's going to be interesting to watch. They've got a lot here on their Twitter feed, just to kind of give you an idea, quick teaser of the Quantum Noesis, the world's first playable NFT based, they're doing this with NFT novels. And I think what they're doing here is they're starting to train the process of people joining their legions of being able to become data labelers for the AI systems that they start to farm out and make available into the blockchain. So lots happening there. Before we get into the next area, which is going to be mesh networking, I want to thank our sponsors, and that is FTX.us. If you're not into FTX just yet, we've got a great discount code for you. You'll be able to just click the link below in our description. But join, because they do something very cool. One thing that I like about FTX is, one, they have amazing selection in terms of projects and tokens and all that. But the other factor that I really like about FTX is the fact that it is inexpensive to trade on. It's one of the lowest cost bases out there. Their mobile app is absolutely stunning, and it's been one of those products that I find a little bit alluring when I'm trading on FTX. I do like the FTX Pay when you use it and can use it. I think that's another feature. They also have their NFT platform. So as you can see, there's a lot happening within the FTX ecosystem. And if you're not following their token, you should probably be tracking their token as well, because it's been on our top 20 for a while as well. So visit ftx.us or ftx.app. You'll be able to click the link below for more discounts. Let's get into one that we've had on the show here several times, and we've had their founder on, their executive team on, and then we're in the process of trying to put a miner in to our own facility here in our studio, and that is Helium. Now, Helium is an interesting grid networking concept. The idea right now for Helium is pretty basic. It's basically backhauling IoT, Internet of Things. And when you think about traffic that's out there in the open web, you probably don't realize this, but most of those radio towers, even to a certain extent, open Wi-Fi systems, they have backhaul infrastructure that's designed to basically take baseline information, data instructions coming from all sorts of devices. This could be from, support systems, heating and air control, refrigeration, school systems, early warning systems, all these different kinds of things that are very low latency type scenarios where they're just transmitting kind of signal. Think of it like the atomic clock. All of that needs a backhaul capability. The atomic clock obviously is transmitting differently, but that's this concept behind what Helium is trying to do. The next layer from Helium to take it to the next step up is to start to move into true wireless networking that would be enabled for maybe passersby or in dense areas. Those kind of things around mesh networking could become very, very interesting, and being able to mine tokens or be able to earn money off of traffic, data traffic, or proof of use is I think what they call it, is very intriguing, because it does have a potential to where it could really start to be something very interesting. Look at this right here on their, this was right here talking about just how much they've deployed. Love building out the People's Network, 600,000 hotspots and counting. And if you look at their map on their website, I would just recommend go visit helium.com. If you haven't tracked Helium, HNT, the token, check that one out too. We've picked that token last year early. We felt like it was just an early mover, and it absolutely has been flying up the charts since then. I'll show you what that token has done over the past year as we get into some of this detail. But Helium, definitely one of those that I think continues to be kind of an outlier, but also one that has really started to prove its case. More importantly, is they're actually deploying out on the system today. So I think we'll see more and more coming from them. The other one is entertainment. I want to get into Gala. And Gala, we've had on the show here a couple of times, Jason Brink. He mentioned Gala Music the last time we had a chance to talk to him and what they were trying to do. He also mentioned movies and the whole evolution of what is going to be the Gala ecosystem. It kind of starts with this little article right here, and that is Gala Games to plow $5 billion into NFT expansion efforts. Now, when you think NFTs, these are not going to be the traditional NFTs that you may think of if you're out shopping for an NFT JPEG or something even on a utility side. This is designed around NFT architecture that's going to be running within entertainment, gaming, and potentially, I think, movie applications that we'll see coming to the face of Gala. And they talk about it here. Gala Games confirmed money is allocating the $5 billion. And as I said, split between gaming, music, movies, and theme park NFTs. And then the Gala token, of course, is fully diluted value of $16.7 billion. About 15% of its supply currently is circulating. It's got some potential to continue to climb. So I think there's a lot here with kind of the future of where it's going. What Brink was talking about right here, when you have an awesome photo op with Snoop Dogg newscast in the background, it just doesn't, it just wouldn't behave. I love that one. Check out that. That's a great photo bomb. But the point being is that Snoop is and has been a big partner of Gala, and I think his presence there, it starts to kind of bridge that gap in entertainment, but more so into pop culture. And pop culture is a big factor into how some of these projects can really grow. Gala Music, Gala as a whole, could become a very interesting one to keep your eye on. If you'd invested in Gala pre-sale, you would have bought that at 1/10 of a cent. It traded at its top at about 75 cents, so you can kind of do the math on that. And that was just if you had purchased it back in early quarter 2021 and how far it's come. So lots happening there. And then the other thing here is just kind of just in general, the Gala store. This is really starting to show the flexibility of what they're doing, both on the gaming front and what they potentially have the capability to do around the NFT side of things, as you can kind of see with their NFT store. And all of this, of course, is applicable inside many of the different game architecture that Gala is building right now. So this is one of those projects. Let me jump over to their games page just to give you an idea of the kinds of titles that this company is really putting together. Obviously, we already knew about Walking Dead and Legends Reborn. Spider Tanks is getting ready to roll out. Townstar already very popular. And then you've got Mirandus, which I think is probably one of the most, successful games that they've got with fantasy RPG. Then you've got Echoes Empire last, and then Fortified. These are coming. Obviously, they have the whole node system in there, which I think has a lot of potential, even though there's not a lot of those that are available right now. All right, so I want to jump to some of the charts here just to show you some of these projects and how they've been able to perform, what potentially could come out of these in the near future. And if you think about projects and or companies that you could have invested in pre-internet era, if you just kind of put yourself back in that time, maybe you're a tech geek and you kind of remember those companies, and the companies that were to shake out of that are the ones that you kind of have to watch. And that's the area. And there's many other categories that I'm looking at right now to kind of break down that have a few projects that could spill into each one of these and potentially be the next Amazon, the next Facebook, the next, Salesforce.com. All those kind of companies potentially have a genesis, and genesis points is very, very important in terms of where blockchain is right now because it's very, very early. So let's look here at Arweave just to give an example. If you look at Arweave over the past year, I'm going to go back here and purchase Arweave. in 2021, right there in January at $4.60. Now, granted, right now it's trading at $33, so not quite a 10x, but if I'd have jettisoned it here at the top at $86, now we're talking about a 20x gain in the same year for Arweave. Again, so people understand the potential here of where it's going, and I think its potential is really only limited really by its ability to, one, scale on partnerships and the ability to scale the technology to keep up with potential demand. I think that's going to be a big one. Gala Music, same kind of thing. I mean, they've, of course, came out of nowhere. Back in January on the pre-sale, you would have been able to buy that at 0.017, and you can kind of see where Gala kind of popped up to its all-time high right there at Thanksgiving, which was at 71 cents. It settled back in here, which gave a lot of people opportunity to get back in. And now, of course, trading at 25 cents right now. And I think Gala is still underpriced and highly undervalued because they have so many oars in the water right now. What it could be in the future is still, I think, very undersung. The other one is helium that we mentioned. And I went to the chart here just to show you the example. The first time we dropped a helium video early last year, January 4th to the high, if you went to the high and you were able to pick that out, sell it, that's a 5,600% gain for the year on helium. So pretty impressive. Even if you only look at the gain between, let's get real, and you bought it last summer when it was down, and even to right now, where it's trading right now, you'd be at 138% up. So you can see the potential opportunity here for projects like these and others that are starting to really kind of break rank in a lot of these different categories. So just watch these. Again, not investment advice. Hopefully this has given you guys some direction to go in understanding what technologies are being disrupted. Now, think about the technologies that you're involved with. Maybe you're in the medical field. Maybe you're in the real estate field. Maybe you're in entertainment, whatever it might be, something that you understand, food field, whatever it might be. And then start to look into the blockchain. And don't worry about finding projects that are super early because, listen, if you get into projects super early, those are the ones that usually give you the chance to get into something when no one else is there. And if you believe in it and you feel like it's got core fundamentals, a good team, and has a good direction in answering that question, then you may be on for a rocket ship ride. So just take that into consideration as you put your head around what works for you in areas that maybe you understand more than the four we've laid out today. All right, you guys are listening in over on the podcast. Right now, the best thing to do is jump over here to the YouTube channel. You'd get a chance to see all these charts and also kind of understand a little bit more about our own ecosystem, which is the Diamond Circle. It's very easy to join. Just click the link below. You can get in. We drop a couple of emails a week. It gives you a little bit of feedback. Data we do AMAs. We also drop guides in there. And then we also give away our digital asset rewards. We're going to start delivering those in our email. So make sure and open your email because you may be opening up to Bitcoin winners or our Cardano giveaways, all those kind of things. Jump in there. It's really easy. It's simple and easy to join. If you want to reach me, it's out on Twitter @Paul Barron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.